obviously attending, frankly, are doctors like me who aren't very, very technically minded, but have just the same need to keep up to date, just the same need to understand the breadth of technology that's available, and much more practically what we can do with it, because it is going to change our life. It's going to change our life for the better, and I think we need to know about that. I'm sure that tools like social media, the various applications, have sort of crept up on us almost imperceptibly, and many of us maybe haven't stopped to think about the way that it's actually changed the consultation. But it's changed the consultation very much for the better. In simple terms, you know, I no longer have shelves of reference books in the consultation, because when I'm with a patient, what I need are easy answers. Maybe a decade ago, if I were to get out a book and look something up, the patient would think, why doesn't he know the answer to this? Now they think, that's great. Here's a guy who's keeping up to date, who's trying to give me the best possible advice and using modern technology to do it. Well, I almost have to stop and think, am I using these tools? But of course the answer is yes. I mean, I use reference sites all the time. I use web-based materials for my patient. I use lots and lots of educational modules for myself in order to keep up to date. I think a lot of doctors are using the technology in a fairly unstructured way. I mean, I think we all use the web for a number of resources. I think the problem is that unless somebody actually encourages you to think about what it can do, it's very easy to let it pass you by. And I suspect that we do need a focus, maybe this conference will provide it, to show us exactly what the potential is, in very simple, uncomplicated and untechnical ways, how we can actually harness the technology, which is going to make our life easier, not more difficult. I tend to use medical information sites, some of the major charities that I recommend to patients. And these days, of course, there are sites available for professionals which not only offer continuing education, information, but also a fair degree of social networking. And that's something in the digital age which I think we're missing, because the days of not exactly socialising, but certainly peer-to-peer contact on a local level seem to have gone. And I think these are going to replace them. For patients, I actually try and give them a list of the sources of information that I think are going to be useful to them, and I encourage them to use them so that when they come back to see me, we can actually take the conversation forwards. I think the problem with the internet always has been and always will be that it is totally unregulated. And I feel very sorry for patients who are desperate to find accurate information and who can very easily find information which is not accurate, not applicable to them, and downright destructive in many instances. So where possible, I try and advise them. And I think in general terms, if we remember that to go to sites which are well regarded, in that they are perhaps national charities, that they have been recommended, and perhaps above all else, sites which tend for their contributors to go to acknowledged experts, people who sound like they know what they're talking about. Because we're becoming aware very recently that there may soon be available applications which allow my patients to monitor maybe the way that they use their medication, maybe the way that they monitor their chronic diseases, and that could be made available to my patient record. Yeah, I mean, I get very excited about the prospect for the future.